Riess. Today I want to take you to another episode named Everything You Wanted to Know About the Dogs You Just Didn't Have Whom to Ask. Okay, and today we are again going to dive in a deeper understanding of the Pure Love and Harmony formula. The Pure Love and Harmony formula is actually essence of the longevity and well-being of our dogs living in environment that we create for them. So that's very important thing, because when we understand that we do create environment in which dog live, that means that impact of that environment on the dogs would be of very high level intensity. So I'm gonna take you through this little update on a Pure Love and Harmony wellness formula, and I'm gonna just have it here, like just to get all the things. Okay, so we have like PLH wellness formula equals. So we had like on the beginning. So this is a live project. It's always move forward and forward and forward. And now I was talking for a long time that in order to have like a perfect environment and to serve the perfect to create for our dogs perfect environment, it's very important to know three components. One is clear communication. So clear communication means that we communicate with our dogs clearly what we want to get them to do for us, or what we want to them to achieve, or whatever. So we're gonna properly and oftentimes as of now use so-called commands, or we're gonna use reinforcement, no matter is it a bad or like a something reinforcement of like in a form of like a pulling and pushing or sort of punishment, or we're gonna reinforce like in positive way, like doing and using some treats or some rewards, things like that. And then the dog's gonna kind of understand what we want to communicate with them, but we need to go beyond to understand that the dogs are actually reacting to the environment they are placed in. Until we do not provide consciously an intentional environment in which they respond to our behavior by willingly choosing to provide us with acceptable and desirable behavior by their end. In that sense, when we are encouraging our dogs to choose to behave properly, not because they are forced to, regardless is it forced to be by using force or by using treats or so, no matter which type of the reward we are using or punishment we are using, it's still conditioned. That's very important. So there are some technical things when you need to recondition already previously wrong experiences of the dog, and that can be done through the use of the positive reinforcement. But that's a portion of the therapy. In order for us to understand what actually clear communication is to understand the canine language, to stop blaming the dogs for what they do and we don't like them to do, and finally put the focus on the one that's responsible for that the humans, which creates environment in which dog lives. And by behavior, the only way the dogs can communicate with us, they're choosing to actually put the signals on us through everything they do, because they don't understand, they don't know Serbian, and they don't know English, and they don't know nothing, they don't know different languages, they don't have this human communication. So how they can only communicate with us is through their behavior. And now if we don't understand their behavior, if we don't understand how to put their behavior in the context, we're going to fail to understand what are they telling us to do. And there is a very important, very big level of impact to that portion of our interaction with the dogs is over humanization. So humanizing the dogs, expecting them to know and expect and live the world and on a level of the consciousness that we experience the world, and that we put our traits and we say, oh, he's sad, he's happy, he loves me, he wants me, he always wants to be around me, and all kind of labeling them with this oh, he's my baby, he's my this, he's my that. By facing these challenges, actually labeling them with the traits that does not belong to their species, it's disrespect of the dog, and all kind of things actually that takes us away from the clear communication. Let's write it. So clear communication. Okay, so now if I want to tell you, I'm gonna now present what the clear communication means. I sad ću nastaviti da pričam na srpskom jeziku kao da vi potpuno razumete šta sam ja hteo da kažem i kao da nema potrebe u tome da i dalje koristim jezik koji se koristi među ljudima, ali koristim reči koje verovatno oni koji ne znaju srpski jezik ili ga ne razumeju uopšte neće povezati sa smislom ovog rada, odnosno ovog današnjeg live-a. So what I actually said by using a couple of Serbian sentences, I said you a very, very true thing that I'm gonna now use a couple of words that are used in a human communication, mankind communication. But if you are not equipped with actually understanding the language I was used, you probably didn't know a heck what I was telling there. Okay, and that's what I tell. I just translated what I just told there on Serbian. But that's how it's important to understand that even if we do speak human language, not necessarily understanding of the human language will be in present if we do not speak the same culturally shaped language. That's why important to understand that the dog doesn't speak English, Serbian, Hungarian, Italian. The dog speaks human language beyond conditioning, transcending the cultural conditioning, transcending everything that we are taught to do, and they are in tuned with that language of the nature, with a language of behavior. And when we behave in the canine understandable way of how they do preserve the world through the behavior language, then we will be able, by using less words, to inspire dogs with our actions, not only when interacting with the dogs, but also when interacting with the world. So as we go through the wellness formulas, so that is a foundation. Then we have, after clear communication, now we need to provide nutrition. So this is nutrition. So now this is, and why nutrition comes second? Why nutrition is not first? Why dogs doesn't need first to understand actually why nutrition comes actually after clear communication? We're gonna dive in later on today, because that's gonna be the essence of this live. Okay, and then we have another one, the coat care. This is coat care. So now when we know which kind of dog we have, which kind of proper coat care the dog need to have, are we living in the urban setting? Is the dog living outdoor? Is the dog living indoor? Do I have a carpet or is a wooden floor? Is the dog sleeping with me on the bed or not sleeping with me on the bed? When the dogs sleep, when they sleep on a bed, are they closer to my head or they are sleeping closer to my legs or feet? Which kind of environment I have? Do I live downtown or some little like a suburb area or something like that? So all of that gonna impact the coat care routine. So I need to add here R, so it will be CCR, coat care routine. Not only the way I care for the dog's coat, but also when and in which proximity and which kind of rituals and which kind of routine I gonna keep maintaining. So there is no particular idea of what's right. what probably is right for someone that lives downtown Chicago or downtown New York or downtown Miami wouldn't, or those three wouldn't be actually Chicago and New York maybe would be the same, but also, but the moment you go to the downtown Miami, the difference in those settings, level of the pollution as well of the level of the environment, in which means that which kind of level of the hydration, it's not hydration, is a humidity we have, which kind of dryness, is it a winter or it's not a winter, and all of those things gonna impact your coat care routine. And as of now, if you was kind of carefully listening to me, coat care, like a clear communication, nutrition, and the coat care routine. So all of that was up maybe recently, I must say, like up to maybe 3 months ago, it was a Pure Love and Harmony Wellness formula. But as more we dived into perfectly, creating these plans. So if you want us to go and dive in deeper with you, you can schedule the private consultation. We can completely go through this and develop what will bring to your particular dog in your particular environment, in your particular setting, a perfect formula that will give your dogs longevity and prosperous and well-deserved, happy and healthy life. But now we're gonna dive into understanding like what was a missing portion and how the wellness formula actually evolved is a secret ingredients that all of these goes in Zagrada. How you call Zagrada? Parentheses, okay? And all of these times X. And X is you. So you impact the dog's clear communication. You will impact through the communication. You will impact the nutrition, and I'm gonna show you in this class how. And you will be the reason of the proper coat care routine, because this X is what makes Pure Love and Harmony formula so unique to every single setting. So, and then how this goes, it's not only that this goes like timing with all of this, clear communication, nutrition, and the coat care routine to get into the perfect life of your dog. But not only it's a perfect life of your dog, it's pure love and harmony of your environment, of your family, of your life when the dog is in place. But also on the linear side, someone would say, I'm just focused, I'm taking him to the trainer, so someone else is training my dog. I'm buying a kibble, so someone else is feeding my dog. I'm just, giving them the kibbles. And then I'm taking my dog to the groomer. Someone else is doing the grooming for myself. Someone else is giving me this coat care routine provided for me. But also this is very important. And then you come to the groomer, and because that was where I started to find out the formula from only dealing with this little portion in my career. And I was saying, like, it's not enough. If I have the greatest tools on this planet, and I have a wonderful possibility to make, and I have all the knowledge about the anatomy, about the standard, I know everything. But if I don't have a coat, because the dog have a pure nutrition, so my result is immediately of the grooming, what I was able to put there as a professional hairstylist and professional show dog stylist, I was limited by the nutrition, and oftentimes I was limited by the clear communication, because the dog wouldn't stand on the table because he was anxious. Regardless, is it a separation anxiety for connection with the owner, or is afraid of, no matter which kind of phobia towards the grooming and whatever process, we again come to the clear communication. And then now, if I would have like a perfect dog that enjoys clear communication, and then that dog, it's fed properly by their owners or whoever, then I will have a coat to make a beautiful line, and not only the lines on the dog, not only that I will have a beautiful coat on a dog, I would have a dog that will enjoy the grooming process because of the clear communication with their owners. And then what is a magical problem? Where actually the problem lies? Because no one is taking attention. Every single pet care professional is focusing on this. Coat care, maybe some of them are trainers. So trainers are training the dogs, and they're trying to provide a clear communication path to the clients, either work with clients or work with dogs, or somehow they're trying to. So there is a interest of the people in the pet space, in the pet care space, to provide the services of training. Okay, then you go next, then you go to someone else and they say, oh, I'm a perfect nutritionist, or you go and buy the kibbles. So nutritionists were some nutritionists and teams and all of those big companies were making nutritions for you, so you trust someone that's interested in a canine nutrition, right? So those people are very much interested into dogs, right? And these guys are teaching dog how to train or how to communicate with its dog. The guys are teaching how the dog should be fed, and what's the Excel sheets about what nutrients the dog need and all kind of those things. And then you have a groomers that would take care about your dog's coat. So, but what was missing and why the pure loving hormone just skyrocketed in the complete new category that is opening in the market because of the pure loving harmony wellness formula approach, is actually all of these professionals are interested into the dog. All of them are interested of the dog. Maybe the trainers would also have impact on their owners, but yet the owners oftentimes fail to understand how that impacts the overall well-being of their pets. So where do we go from this is to analyze the you, because it's not a Bichon, it's a Sasha's Bichon. It's a dog that is, which breed he appears to be seen as a Bichon, or as a Papillon, or as a Poodle, or there is some Christine, and Christine has a Great Dane, and she would come to me and she would say like, okay, I have a Great Dane, and Great Danes are big and they're anxious and all of those things. That's not a Great Dane. That's Christina's dog that looks like a Great Dane. Not only that, but it's very important to understand that a dog's behavior, and I'm gonna gradually come into this, what I was, the core of today's meeting, is now with all of that I was going through in my career, because I said like, oh my God, I cannot groom the dog if I don't know how to nourish the coat for my $1 million show dogs that I was living with, and they were not my dogs. I was paid to live with those dogs, and I was taking them to the shows, and I was paid to know my job perfectly. But I was also not aware of how I was developing a pure love and harmony formula over 35 years, of course, a course of 35 years. So I said, I need to provide them a perfect nutrition, and I need to communicate with them, because I wouldn't be able to get from them the best if I don't know how to put them in an environment in which they would provide what I want from them willingly. And there was a certain point, I ran through my career perfectly, but then the certain point where all of this that I knew collapsed was with my dog Tito. So the Tito was my dog that I acquired when I was done. I retired from my show world, and I said, okay, I won in Milano 2015. I won the world champion title with the most famous toy poodle of that time, from Italian breeder Foscalberto. She was my little poison. That was her name, potion. It's not a poison, it's kind of a little potion, would be a fragrance, okay? On Italian, kind of fragrance. And she was like an amazing one girl that I was campaigning with her for entire 2 years in order to reach that that title. She was being introduced to the smaller shows, and then we were training, like we were communicating, living with me perfectly. So she had a pretty good tempo, and she loved me so much. And I said, like, okay, there was a World Dog Show in Milan 2015, and I said, like, I'm winning the best in show. I'm winning the World Dog Show title, the World Champion title, over one of my biggest mentors ever from Japan. And when I was done with that show, I said, like, oh my God, I cannot go further. I cannot go beyond this. This is my achievement that I want to be remembered for. And this is my achievement, what I want to end my career with. So that was the last time I showed the dog in the ring, and I put the show lead, and I didn't have any clients since. But I continued to develop, and I continued to kind of like slowly expose the trade secret of the how do you care for $1 million show dog to the average doggy parents like you, or like your clients, no matter from which level you're looking to this live. And then something happened. I got my dog. I got my pet dog after maybe 25 years. I didn't have my pet dog. Okay, I was living with the other people's dogs, and they were come and go and come and go and come and go. And then in my life came Tito. Tito was a standard poodle, one of my very important dogs that I was also taking care of. Her name was Anna, and then the Tito was a grandchild of Anna. When I got a Tito at my home, I said, like, now it's time to relax. Now it's time to do everything how I want to be an average pet parent. I want to love this dog. I want to have him in my bed. I want to take him to a coffee shops. I want to travel around the world with him. I just want to have relaxed, like no more work. And then I was going through the hardship in my business, developing all kind of patents and having investors, and dive into this drama of building startup and trying to penetrate the market with the new ideas. And everything was such an enormous stress on me. At that time, I also divorced from my second very long relationship after I had under very difficult and humiliating circumstances that I was not able to manage through. And I was always go home and I would hug this dog and I would say, oh my God, at least some safe haven in my life would be when I come home. And slowly what I keep seeing at my dog is that my Tito is start to develop severe separation anxiety. I would leave the home. He would scratch the floor. He would scratch the walls. He would howl. He would even, if I would, I don't know how. One day I forgot to close my windows, and there I have my neighbor calling me, like, maybe you consider coming back because Tito is almost about to jump over the window, and I was like on the third floor. I said, oh my God, like something is wrong is going on here. And it was very humiliating to know that the top niche handler in the world have now these dogs that I just don't know what's wrong. And then I was starting to understand because I couldn't deal with myself. And then I got introduced finally to a family constellation therapy. And the family constellation therapy was focusing only on me, only on Sasha, only on X. No matter how emotionally, how full of love, how understandably I communicated with that dog, I was giving him the best food in the world because I knew how to feed the dog. And I was the best groomer, like a labeled best groomer to the world, to the poodles. That was my signature. So for sure, I did know how to care for his coat. But something was missing. What was missing? It was me, my anxiety, my fear, my problems that I was going through, impacting my clear communication, producing high level of the stress hormone inside his body, not being able to use any of the nutritions I was delivering to that little puppy, and finally, he started losing his coat. the white standard poodle that's starting to have alopecia. No matter what I tried, no matter how much I tried, all blood work was perfect. All skin scratches and lab tests were perfect. Everything was perfect. What was not perfect was the environment that dog lived in. And slowly, when I was starting to introduce myself to a family constellation therapy, going through my own internal emotional processes, getting back to my childhood, getting back to the world, to the life before my life, to life of my ancestors, connecting myself, healing down the process at once, only by focusing on myself and my journey and my healing, the Tito started slowly to recover. I didn't do nothing else. I was just expressing, actually I was thinking, I'm expressing the pure love and harmony, the pure love. I was loving that dog because that's how you should love the dog, because that dog is not a show dog. So you don't need to train him as you would do the show dog. You need to have this distance as you need to have with the show dog. Distance, we call it like that, like distance, and then in that distance, but now I'm not calling it distance, I'm calling it safe space. It's not a distance. It's a safe space that my dog needs from me so he can see me for who I am. And slowly that knowledge, that ideas were coming from, not from the canine analysis. That knowledge slowly started to come in me, which kind of connection I developed with my dog through the family constellation system and therapy that later on I started to study. And I added education on top of my canine research. I added education about my own healing process through the family constellation therapy. And then I became a family constellation therapist. Not only family constellation, because family constellation, the other sort of name for the family constellation is Order of Love, Orders of Love, family constellation, or there are a lot of names, but these are on English. I almost told you the original. And then out from that, I studied like almost 6 years of my fully focus on a family constellation rules that exist within a system. Why the family constellation is very important portion of this, because the dog becomes part of family. So you don't have another option to analyze your relationship with the dog, but through the lens of the family constellation, because the dog is irreplaceable part of the family constellation. But if we would try to apply any bit of the family constellation inside that formula and relationship, we're gonna fail for sure. And I'm gonna take that lecture for the next week. What is the different and how? Because out from this, I'm just finishing my book on that, and the book evolved from my white paper on the orders of harmony. So that's where all of this is very important to understand, is that in between the humans, I'll just give you a spice, so you plan on next week 7 Eastern time, so you join me here. I'm gonna plant a little seed there. So in between the humans, there are orders of harmony. There are laws, cosmic laws, that if broken, try to fix themselves through the generations that come, until there is one that starts living the life outside the shoes of the loyalty, connecting the dots of orders of love, and then move forward with support of the history and ancestors. The other ones, if broken laws, how would we know that some laws of harmony, laws of love might be broken? It's because we can see the pattern in our life, the pattern of not having, pattern of the relationships, pattern of the abuse, pattern of the abuse in the relationships, like love affairs, abuse on bullying in the school, bullying on the job, not having a job, not finding a purpose. All of that shows that we are experiencing circular drama that's just going on through the generations, and now it's time to be fixed from our perspective in our life to finally move on with the life that we are here to live. While in between a dog's and a human-dog relationship, it's not based on laws of love, and next week I'm gonna go in depth of those. They are based on laws of harmony. So if we want to try to apply laws of love in a human-dog relationship, we'll fail. We won't be able to make it through that relationship, and then you and your dog and everyone around that dog gonna suffer because we try to to live that relationship on the rules or a cosmic laws that the relationship doesn't operate on. By knowing that, and this is all scientifically proven, like you can go to the scientific methods. Those scientific papers are criticized, but also lately, because I don't know, 1980s were the first time they were written, but slowly those papers are starting to be a fundamental of the other very important biological and physiological and psychological research papers that are published on the foundations of the orders of love. And then Orders of Harmony is my white paper. It's my connecting the two worlds, the canine world and the human world, because I had an experience of teaching and learning from both worlds in the canine care for 35 years, and then I added this wonderful knowledge from the family constellation therapy inside it, and then I blend it into one, out of which the Orders of Harmony are the foundation of the relationship with our pets. So when we said how the humans are impacting dogs and why it's important that the Pure Love and Harmony formula, if we really want to help out our dogs, it's important to look at the who are we and how do we with our life impact everything that happens in their life. And I'm gonna take you through that little journey, particularly now, and I'm gonna show you what's the science behind all of this and how that's actually it's going through. So now if I can have something to wipe this off, or I can maybe just oh, never mind, leave it here. Like if I write here, can you see it or no? Huh? Yeah, you can. Okay. So let's have this portion there. Next time I'm gonna start writing a little higher. Okay. So how does it work? So what's very important to understand is how stress operates. Why I'm bringing stress now in this particular topic? Because if we don't understand what the stress means, then we will never understand what actually, how actually we impact our dogs by our behavior and our perception of the world in the way that we are actually thinking that we are doing good, maybe, and the outcome of doing that good actually comes out to be very bad for our dogs. And now we have, there is a very important study that our institute, Pure Love and Harmony Institute, you can check a little more about that on myplh.com. So that's where the myplh, one word, myplh.com. You can go there and you can check about institute, about what we do, studies that currently we are doing, studies that we did, the patent that we patented, that we published. All of those things are published there, so you can go there and see like how this perception of the human-dog interaction is actually of more interest for the PLH or Pure Love and Harmony, rather than just talking about code care, specific topics of interest in the canine relationship. So training or communication with the dogs, and then nutrition of the dogs, or the code care of the dogs. So what happens? Every single thing in every mammal that has a spine and the central nervous system, there is a brain, and soon there is a brain there is a structure of the brain that basically and fundamentally for every single mammal is the same. Just the way the brain is developed, the size of it, and the way of how it's put together in order to kind of like work, the sizes of the portions of the brain, which portions do what. That's of the of difference. For example, the prefrontal lobe of humans would be around 20%, 20% of the entire brain, while where actually the dog's prefrontal lobe would be around 3% of the total brain. That doesn't mean that they cannot think for themselves. That literally think that they have 3% to use in order to make a decision based on facts. And where do we collect the facts? The brain collects the facts by using senses. And then all of those senses are triggering a certain trigger points inside the brain that will actually send the signals forward through the nerves and through the nerve cells down to the muscles or to the hormonal glands, to the glands to release the hormone or to initiate the movement, either of the body itself in totally or the organs inside the body to start initiating the movement. So that's very important to understand. So there are the control centers inside the brain that trigger something to be done accordingly of what's going on around us or what's going on inside us. Some of actions inside our body and dog's body is happening without our will. Something is happening with a will. Something is happening and something is something might happen based on our interaction and past experiences. And there is very important part of the brain that calls hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is actually perceiving. That's a stress perceive place in the world in the brain that's going to release one type of the hormone that's going to go to another gland that's called pituitary gland. That's going to then release another set of the hormones that's going to go to adrenal glands that's going to finally release adrenaline and the cortisol. And the cortisol has a tendency to prevent us, and that's a good, the stress is sometimes good because sometimes we really need to act on what we need to do based on the circumstances conclusion. But the fundamental conclusion that we have are based on the surrounding. But the fundamental need for these hormones to act is a surviving mode. And they are like when the cortisol is released, there is very significant biomechanical reaction that happens inside the dog's body. And that's the blood sugar level spikes up, the immune system gets compressed, so we can, and the entire body is actually, the metabolism as well is getting shrink or adding it, slowing down the metabolism. So the entire body is actually focusing, and the entire energy and everything, all the work of the body is focused to provide a strength and support to a brain, so the brain can make a decision out of three: fly away, freeze, or fight. So when the dogs are placed under the circumstances of which we can kind of like see that the dogs are now placed in the environment that we pursue with our life and with our worlds, and now we have them expecting from them that they are actually seeing the world the way we do see the world, then, and that's kind of humanization of the dog. And then we're gonna see later on why that's dangerous next week when we're gonna compare orders of love to orders of harmony. And now we're gonna know and understand that when the dog is under the stress, and what can cause the stress. The first thing that can cause the stress is unclear communication. When you want to say something, a vaš pas ne razume o čemu vi govorite. I sad ako ste sad jako zainteresovani za sve ovo dokle sam došao sada, i ja sad počnem da pričam na jeziku koji ne razumete, vi odjedanput dobijate moment u kojem će da krenete da se budi u vama kao, pa šta me praviš ludim? Ja te ne razumem, a tako hoću da znam šta si hteo da mi kažeš. So what did I said now again is using another language that you might not be familiar with and trying to tell you something at the very interesting point of this day that might make you feel anxious because you don't understand what I'm telling you and you so want to understand what I told you. And that's what I actually told you now. And that actually can trigger that you feel like you don't understand, and that can trigger all the memories. To the humans, I'm unworthy, I can't listen to this, I don't understand nothing, nothing makes sense, I just gonna, live the life, and I don't care. This guy is like, I don't understand what he's talking about, it's irrelevant, it's not important. It's very important, trust me. It's very important. So now, when you have the stress of the environment released, then again, we go the hypothalamus, the pituitary gland, the adrenaline gland, and then releases a cortisol that has a spike glucose and then lower the immune system and slower the body function inside us. But can you imagine what are the signs that your dog doesn't understand you? And what are the signs that the dog lives under the stressed environment? One of them would be your dog is pulling on the leash. Your dog is barking on everyone that walks by the house. Your dog is jumping on you. Your dog has separation anxiety. Your dog has inappropriate elimination. Your dog has a lot of other misbehaving things are actually just signals or the dog's reaction on the environment that we created for them that are actually triggering the stress inside them, and through their behavior they're trying to cope with it the best way they know. So now when we know that triggering, what are the actually, when this comes, like we have a hypothalamus, pituitary gland, adrenaline gland, and then finally we have a cortisol inside dog's body that lowers the spikes, the glucose level, lowers and compresses the immune system, and slows the digestive gut, like slows the gut functions, the entire digestive system. What the outcome of all of this also can be. So it can be like immune suppression. It can be GI issues. It can be like, where do we go? Poor connection, like a brain, because it affects brain reaction. Brain is very reactive. Muscles are constantly inflamed. Kako se kaže stisnuti? Tight, because of the tightness. Because of the tightness. Or contracted. And then the heart pumps because of the higher level of anxiety, builds up the pulse. The blood flows much faster through the dog's body, and on one step we have a heart rate that's almost slowly, constantly, rapidly increasing. And then what's going on? If we do not release the stressor, if we do not remove dogs from the stressed environment, we won't be able to do a lot of things that the dog might experience as symptoms, because it just doesn't work. You tried a lot of things and your dog is still licking the paw. You have tried a lot of things and your dog is still having a leaky diarrhea. You tried a lot of things and your dog is constantly having a problem with the reflux. Yeah, reflux, like a acid reflux. Yes. So you tried a lot of things, and your dog might even experience some heart failures or kidney failures or liver failures or pancreatic failures due to the wrong GI problems, like a gut issue. And you would not a gut, like GI. How you say that on English? Intestinal tract. So intestinal tract, and then you would see that inflammation of the intestinal tract, you would say it's because of the food. No, it's because of the stress. It's because the dog is constantly under the stress. So now, who created the environment that the dog lives in? We. Who will impact the clear communication? We. Who will impact the nutrition of the dog? We. Through the clear communication, but also clear communication, it's not clear communication, because oftentimes, what was my problem with the Tito until I didn't dissolve it? I was emotionally connected to that dog. And that dog felt responsible for my life. But they couldn't save me. So because they couldn't save me, they started to experience all kind of physiological problems that I was thinking there is a magic pill, or there is some magic prescription or recipe, or the time, or someone, please someone help me. Nothing worked until I didn't fix my work, my relationships, my inner child, my wounds. I find my shoes. I started to go through the life of my life with fulfilling my purpose, out of which this one fits the most. This what I talk now, and what I record my videos, and what I do 24/7, almost answering the questions and interacting with the people from all over the world, especially from my country, and now slowly English-speaking country is also hearing this story, because a lot of you guys just didn't have where to turn, because everyone was telling you, just take the dog to a trainer and nothing worked. Take the dog to a nutritionist, nothing worked. Take the dog to a groomer, nothing worked. And finally, here you are trying to get rid of the dog because you don't know what to do. The reason why the people are abandoning the dogs the most, not that I'm telling you going to abandon that, but 4 million people a year abandon the dogs due to problems with the communication, problem due to nutrition and allergies, and problem due to the chaos that the coat care is just create, the chaos of the having dogs in the environment that doesn't have a nice routine. But that's all fixable if the most important part of the formula operates within this inner serenity that actually gives secure place for the dogs, and that those dogs are actually feeling that they're welcomed, that they're protected, that they're real cared for. And then when you want to learn about the real pure love and harmony formula, so we have like a clear communication, we have nutrition, we have coat care routine, and then we have the very important portion that impacts all of those is you. Who am I? And how do I communicate with my dog? If my dog is in peace, he's gonna be able to completely eat everything that I give him. This is why a lot of worlds, a lot of people, a lot of time through the history of our life, it was enough for dog to eat all the bread. For 25 years, I cannot tell you that my grandma and grandma that lives in Serbia, well, I was talking to her and she was telling to me, what are you doing? And I'm explaining her. She says, you should come and record this, my dog, because he's 25 years old. And I said, how 25 years old? 25 years old. He bought him, he adopted him from the neighbor when it's a village. So the neighbor's bitch had puppies, and then she took a puppy in 1999. The dog is 25 years and still thrive and doesn't have a plan to go anywhere, do you know what that dog eats? Eats only dry old bread. Now, all the species appropriate diets and everything that we try to put here, like a right way to feed your dog, are important, but are completely irrelevant if the dog lives in the environment that closes all of this due to only one reason: impact of the stress to hypothalamus that brings out the cortisol that actually compresses the activity of the dog's body and compresses the immune system. Build up the immune system, build up the microbiome, all of these magic pills and everything is not working because we are far away from the real cause. It's nothing to feel guilty about. It's to feel empowered and encouraged to keep doing the job need to be done in order for you to become a foundation of your dog's well-being. And on the end, if your dog is calm and if your dog trusts you, if your dog have proper nutrition, then the beautiful coat care routine gonna be like if you find the beautiful coat care for routine, you will be able to groom your dog the way you want, or you're gonna be able to find any groomer to provide you whatever you want, and you're gonna know how to find it, where to find it, what to ask from them, not to listen to advices to anyone, because no one knows better your dog rather than you, and no one impacts the dogs more than you. So our approach to work with if you would schedule the consult with us in order to develop you the Pure Love and Harmony Wellness Protocol, that could include the clear communication with your dog, the proper nutrition, and the coat care routine. We should everything starts through one thing that's called Harmony, Order of Harmony Family Constellation. Order of Harmony Constellation. It's a constellation that actually opens the little door that answer one question: why do you have a dog? What's the purpose of the dog in your life? How you and your dog are connected on some more deeper level, rather than just, I have a dog, I bought a dog, it's a cute puppy, I got a present, I had a dog all my life, I lived with the dog since I know for myself. The question becomes, why? Once that question answers, one that deeply rooted question beyond transcending all the facades and all the masks and unknown traumas and dramas we went through, not only we, but also our ancestors went through their life, we're going to be able to answer, how am I connected with my dog? Because I have a dog for a reason and because of the reason. And when I know how do I impact my dog on a physiological level, then I would know how to unpack and how to untangle that entanglement in order for me to develop a life with my dog and everyone around me in pure love and harmony. So with that said, I'm gonna leave you here now to kind of like enjoy the week ahead of you, and then I'm gonna see you next week to unpack this little more and even more deeper in order to combine pure love and harmony with the orders of harmony, and then you will be able to see a little more about how this interaction of us and our dogs really impact their physiology, and out of which we can affect their well-being and longevity, because it's only that what matters, our relationship. And let it be the relationship in pure love and harmony. Until next Thursday, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, I wish you all the best.